Hi, okay, so, it's official. I live in a mansion. Like, not just a big house with granite countertops and a weird chandelier. I'm talking about a creaky, echoing, marble staircase, chandelier so huge it could kill you kind of mansion. It's ridiculous. I mean, who even lives in places like this? Movie stars? Ghosts? Haha, kidding. Kind of. Anyway, my parents ditched me. Okay, not ditched. They went to Paris for business, but really, it's just another excuse for Dad to impress Mom with champagne and fancy cheese while I rot in a 10-bedroom Gothic nightmare. 1 week. 7 nights. Alone. Well, not completely alone. We have a cleaning lady, a gardener, and a cook, but they only come in the day. Then, like clockwork, they leave before the sun sets. Seriously, like terrified little mice scurrying away. I asked Mrs. Porter, the cleaning lady, why she couldn't just stay later since I'm, a minor. She looked at me like I had just told her I eat babies for breakfast and whispered, "We don't stay after dark, Miss Liza. Not in this house. Not after what happened." When I pressed her, she just mumbled something about the Waverly family and crossed herself before rushing out. So, yeah, spooky. But I have more important things to obsess over. Like, okay, don't laugh, Trevor. Trevor with the dark hair and the smirk and the way he sits like he owns the entire back row of chemistry class. We talked yesterday about, actual things. He asked me if I liked horror movies. I panicked and said yes, even though the last time I tried watching one, I couldn't sleep for 3 nights and had to keep my lamp on until Mom yelled at me about the electricity bill. But whatever. I told him yes, and he smiled. So, clearly, I had to survive this week alone, in a house that totally doesn't feel like it's watching me, just to prove I'm not a chicken. Totally fine. Totally normal. The first night wasn't terrible. Just noisy. The house groans like it's alive. Wood popping, pipes sighing, the wind rattling at old windows. I told myself it was nothing. I fell asleep clutching my phone like it was a teddy bear. But the second night? That's when it started. I woke up at 3:17 a.m. sharp to a sound that made my stomach flip. It wasn't the house. It wasn't wind. It was scratching. Inside the walls. Not mice scratching. No. It was too slow. Too deliberate. Like nails dragging against plaster. Like someone trying to claw their way out. I sat up in bed, holding my breath and whispered, because apparently I'm an idiot. "Hello?" The scratching stopped. I thought, see? It's nothing. But then, a new sound. A whisper. Right behind my headboard.
Liza.
I swear to God, I felt ice pour straight down my spine. I didn't even know I could move that fast, but I ran out of my room, down the staircase, into the kitchen, and sat with every single light on until dawn bled through the windows. When Mrs. Porter arrived, I asked her, half laughing, half begging for sanity, if the walls were, infested. She went pale. "They call to the living," she whispered. "They did the same before the family was slaughtered." Excuse me? Apparently, the people who lived here before us, the Waverlys, weren't just murdered. They were butchered, cut open, stitched back in the wrong ways. The father found with his eyes sewn shut, the daughter nailed to her bed with silverware, the mother's jaw broken so wide it couldn't close. And no one was ever caught. So now, alone in the murder mansion. By the 4th night, sleep was impossible. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard breathing. Heavy, wet breathing right beside me. My mirror fogged up even though I wasn't touching it. And then the blood started. It wasn't mine. It came seeping through the cracks in the marble floor, pooling black-red at my feet in the bathroom. I screamed, slipped, nearly cracked my head open, but by the time I scrambled up, it was gone. Just gone. Trevor texted me that night, asking if I wanted to hang out after school tomorrow. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped my phone. I wanted to tell him everything, but instead I typed, "Sure," smiley face. Because apparently, pretending I'm normal is easier than admitting the walls are whispering my name and the house is bleeding. That night I dreamed of the Waverlys. Not as they were alive, but as corpses. The little girl, her face a pale blue mask, reached for me with broken fingers and whispered, "Trade places with me." When I woke, my door was open. I never leave it open. And on my mirror, written in a child's handwriting, was one word: stay. I didn't write it. By the 7th night, I wasn't myself anymore. My hair was greasy, my eyes ringed black. I laughed when nothing was funny. I talked back to the whispers. That night, I walked the mansion's halls barefoot, carrying a kitchen knife like it was my best friend. The air was thick, sweet, rotting, metallic. Every room felt smaller, as if the walls leaned in when I passed. Then I heard it. A child's giggle. Upstairs. I followed. Of course I did, because by then, I wasn't scared. I was curious. I was hungry. The giggle led me to my parents' bedroom. The bed was covered in plastic sheeting. I don't even know when that got there. And on the sheets lay 3 shapes. The Waverlys. Or what was left of them. Their flesh gray, their limbs twisted, stitched together like a grotesque doll. They turned their heads toward me slow, cracking, and in one voice whispered, "Join us." The knife slipped from my hand. I fell to my knees. My body shook, but not with fear, with desire. And I realized I didn't want to leave. I wanted to belong. So I lay down between them. The sheets stuck to my skin. And when they're cold, dead fingers reached for me. I didn't scream. I smiled. The last thing I felt was their nails tearing me open, peeling me like fruit, rearranging me into something new. Something that didn't need parents or Trevor or daylight. I wasn't myself anymore. My skin was cold, my hands trembled, my reflection in the mirror looked wrong. But I wasn't dead. I wasn't theirs. Not yet. The voices were everywhere, under my bed, behind the walls, in the very air I breathed. The Waverlys whispered my name, begging me to join, to let go. I ran. Knife in hand, barefoot, screaming, I tore down the marble stairs, blood pounding in my ears. The house was alive, groaning, pulsing, every door slamming shut behind me. I reached the front door, clawing at the lock, and somehow it opened. I spilled into the night, into the freezing grass, and collapsed under the moonlight. The neighbors found me at dawn. The police swarmed the mansion, just like I begged them to. But when they searched, they didn't find blood. No bodies. No stitched corpses in my parents' bed. No whispers on tape. They found nothing. When I tried to tell them what I'd seen, what I'd lived through, they exchanged looks, pitying, skeptical. They wrote down words like hallucinations, trauma, hysteria. And my parents, oh God, my parents. They were horrified, but not by the house. By me. By the daughter screaming about voices and bleeding walls, trembling at shadows. They whispered to each other when they thought I couldn't hear, "She's not well. She needs help." When they dragged me out of the mansion, I was still screaming. I screamed about the walls, about the voices, about the Waverly girl with her broken fingers reaching for me. But the police only saw a teenager covered in dirt and scratches, babbling nonsense. The investigation turned up nothing. No corpses. No blood pools. No whispers on tape. Just a creaking old mansion with bad plumbing and drafty windows. The detectives shook their heads. My parents looked at me with horror, not at the house, but at me. "She's not safe like this," my mother whispered to my father when they thought I was asleep. "She needs help." And, just like that, they made their choice. So they signed the papers. I was 17 years old the day they locked me in St. Dimphna's psychiatric hospital for my own good. White walls, padded rooms, the smell of antiseptic instead of rotting flesh. Everyone there thinks I'm crazy. The doctors nod, smile, write notes. Night terrors, they say. Dissociative episodes. But I know the truth. The house is real. The whispers are real. The Waverlys are still there, waiting for someone new. A month later, My parents sold the mansion. They wanted it gone, out of their lives, erased. I watched the news in the common room when the segment aired, historic Waverly estate back on the market. The realtor in his sharp suit smiled, hammering the for sale sign into the lawn, then posed beside the brand new sign, as if he were feeding the house exactly what it wanted, a new family. And it got one. A couple. 2 kids. Bright, curious, the kind the house loves best. Smiling, laughing, holding hands as they walked up the front steps. I wasn't there to warn them. I was locked behind barred windows, strapped to a bed when the screaming started in my head again. But I saw it. I wasn't there in person, but I saw them anyway. In my dreams, in the reflections of the asylum windows, in the twitching shadows beneath my bed. In my visions, the children wandered down the dark halls. The walls closed in. The whispers grew louder. And my reflection in the asylum mirror wasn't me anymore. It was the house, smirking, waiting. And then they saw me. The children saw me, just like I knew they would. Not the me in the asylum, strapped into a bed with restraints biting my wrists. No, the me inside the house. The version the Waverlys stitched into the wallpaper, smiling too wide, eyes black and hollow. I leaned close to them in the mirror of the old hallway, and I whispered, soft as silk. "Do you want to play?" The younger one screamed. Just like I did. And though I'm trapped here, medicated and silenced, I know this isn't the end. Until then, I wait. The doctors say I'm making progress. That the medication is helping. That the drawings will stop. That the nightmares will fade. But I know the truth. The house doesn't let go. The house waits. The mansion still breathes. The mansion still eats. And one day, someone will believe me. Every time I close my eyes, I'm back there, the chandeliers swaying, the walls breathing, the Waverly girl tugging at my hand. And one day, when the new family finally breaks, when the house has had its fill, it'll come for me again. And this time, there won't be any doors left to run through.